Hey, this is Brandon at Seller Labs. I just wanted to talk through one of our additional templates that we have for the Seller Labs Data Hub. This one is we're going to be talking about is our seasonal sales forecaster. This is a template that's available if you just go to our website and find the Google Sheets templates we have available. As with all of our templates, this one is divided up on the tabs at the bottom. I'm going to talk through the same content we have here on the Start Here tab. The Get Connected tab here at the bottom goes through the steps to get connected to get your tokens and everything set up in there. We've got a separate video about that if you haven't done that before. But we'll just jump right into the meat of it here with our sales forecaster one. This has been a tool that was asked about for a while from we had many customers, and basically wanting to look at how can I predict how many sales I'm going to have upcoming in this year based on trends from previous years and monthly averages. So I'm going to go ahead and just talk through this a little bit. We've got our favorite demo account connected, which is the Stark Industries. So you start over here by selecting the marketplace. So pick the Amazon.com one for in this case, or Euro Marketplace, and then we pick a product here. I think this Iron Man suit's a fine example here. So you can see when we do that, we pull in a bunch of stuff, and you'll see on the screen here the values that we have in blue are the past data that we have, and on the right side here is the future trends that we're predicting based on the past. So this is basically pulling in 2 years worth of data here to look at to get as much accurate of a picture as we can, and then using that data to project forward into what our sales might look like for the upcoming year. So you might use this if you are trying to predict like what's your Q4 going to look like this year based on trends from the past couple of years, like how much of a spike are we going to see, or with any kind of seasonal product. If you sell, I don't know, Halloween costumes or something, the peak's obviously going to be different, but there'll be some seasonality to many different products. So we have as with all of our sheets, all the areas in yellow are intended to be manipulated, and the ones that are outside of that are kind of for your information or to change. So the first one we have over here is the full months to consider. So what this basically does, well, let me talk about this chart on the right here first. This is where we pulled in the historic data and pulled in the units sold in the past, as well as the buy box percentage from each one of these months. And the buy box percentage we felt is a good representation of a combination of different things of why you might not have had all the sales you should have. So you could have been out of stock for some period of time, which would affect your buy box percentage, or you might have had other people selling on your listing, or other things like that. So the buy box percentage we're using is kind of a way to estimate all those things and how many you could sell if you had the buy box at your maximum rate. So the first couple of columns here are our past data, and then the ones that we fill out on the right are our future data. So we're going to do a couple things up here that'll manipulate this future data. So the first one is the full months to consider. So in this one, we're actually taking the past 12 months and comparing it to the 12 months prior to that. So we're taking basically the sum of these and figuring out how much increase it was over that period of time. And this is telling us that we're up 190% year over year. So if you feel like this is inaccurate for some reason, sometimes if you have, if you want to consider the more recent future more than than going back farther than that, you might pick a shorter time period here. And that's just going to adjust again how many, if we pick the last 4 months here now, instead of the same 4 months last year, it's just going to use those numbers. So if you felt like 12 months is not a good indication of everything, and maybe a shorter period of time there will be more indicative of what you expect for the future, you can select a different number of months here. And then similarly, as we've predicted in here, we see that year over year we're 190% over last year. And so you can actually increase that if you want to say, well, I've made some supplier relationships, or I'm changing my advertising or something like that. You can add an extra 25% to that if you want to, if you feel like it's too low. Or if you feel like it's too high, you can put a negative number in here and say, I want to go 30% lower than what it predicted there. That just changes the ratio that we're actually going to use in the charts here. So let's say I thought that I've got more things coming up than I thought than the past predicted. I'm going to have a better year than I had this year, and we're going to go 25% over that. And then what we do on this one is we pull in the buy box percentage here, and you can put in the buy box percentage to use. So we pull in the maximum one, and we do calculations off the 98.7% is the highest one we saw. But if you thought we're really going to be at 100%, you can put that in there, and it'll override as well. Or if you thought for some reason now there's two suppliers and you only want to go to 50%, we can do that. And you can see if we think our buy box percentage in the future is going to be only 50%, it's not as much big a difference there. So typically we see most people who are brand sellers are expect to have the buy box most of the time at like 98, 99% range. So as you adjust those things, it'll adjust the chart. And then maybe more important than the chart is the actual numbers down here that drive that. So these are really the numbers that you would want to look like. If you're going to predict, if it's say January now and you're going to try to predict your needs for the third quarter of the year or something, you might use this data to figure out, I'm going to order approximately 1,200 units or something from my supplier. So that's really what this is all about. Again, with all of our templates, you can go in and modify all the other underlying data if you feel like you've got some better understanding of how things should work. But so these are just the template, and you can modify them to your needs. But feel free to let us know how that works for you. We'd love to hear how it's going for you. Thanks.